Hello, my name's Adem Fehmi and I'm a canine behaviourist and trainer based in Hertfordshire. Gundog group includes the retrievers, the HPRs, which is hunt, point and retrieve, the setters and pointers, and also the spaniels. Today we're going to be using Labradors, retrievers, and I'm going to be going through the basic foundations, if you like, of Gundog training. Looking at very simple methods to get the dog ready for the shooting field. With the heel command, owners get very frustrated. The dog's pulling on the lead. What we need to make sure, two things there. Does the dog actually know what heel means? And is the dog in the right frame of mind to be taught at that stage? The first thing I'll look at is the owner walking the dog on the lead, just to see, is the owner following the dog or is the dog following the owner? Of course, 90% of the time it's the owner following the dog. Often a lot of books or DVDs and trainers will say change direction, and a lot of owners have tried this by the time I get there, and of course they can't do this the whole walk, so they get fed up. This changing of direction tends to happen just in the early stages, just to get the dog's focus. Then it's about the owner, once the dog is following, due to the changing of direction, to teach the command, heel. When we're looking at teaching the command heel, the dog must be in the position when it hears the word heel, and we reward within 2 seconds of the dog doing the action. So remember, with those commands, you cannot give a command the dog doesn't understand unless you're teaching it and the dog is in the position. And once the dog does understand the command, you must enforce the command you give. Heel, good girl. Heel, good girl. When we're using the lead with the heel command or teaching heel, we must make sure we use the lead as an extension of us, not to keep the dog in the position. When we start teaching the heel command, the ultimate goal is to get the dog walking to heel, free of the lead, by our side, well mannered, and also within different contexts, not just in the kitchen or in the training hall. We need the dog to do it across the board, and in order to do this we must make sure that we put the dog into the different situations and progress with our training, maybe from that hall or from the kitchen or living room to the garden to the field. Always make your training progressive. This is very important. And remember, dogs don't contextualize. So just because a dog can come to heel in a training hall doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do the same out in a field with distractions. We must make sure we build off those good foundations to get the end product. The recall for me is a very big problem for most dog owners. You'll see most dogs, as with the heel command, don't actually understand what come means, or a whistle. This would be my recall whistle. Same thing as come if you're using the command come. What you must make sure is the dog understands that command again. So we shouldn't be blowing this as the dog's running away in the early days as a puppy. We must remember dogs are not born understanding the word come or the whistle. It's our job as the handler, the teacher, to explain to the dog what that command means. So remembering, we must only do it as the dog comes towards us. So we're giving the command as the dog does the action. Then we can reward. So I would only be blowing the whistle initially when that puppy moves towards me, or that young dog. So the puppy's name, Penny, good dog. Rewarding within that 2 second window and teaching the action as the dog's doing it. It's your job to teach that. With the young dog, I always start the recall actually from a very early age, even when the mother is around. So if I see the mother is coming back to the puppy box, I'll just blow my whistle. She jumps in and rewards the dog with the food for her teats or milk. Then what I'll do is as I start to feed the puppies, I'll just blow the whistle and they get their dinner. This sound then the dogs are always chasing and looking for. I will normally start my puppy recalls off the lead in a secure environment, a garden or a paddock, a pen, etc. If you're in an area where you're not quite sure, there's roads nearby, train tracks, etc., use your lead. Remember, this lead is an extension of you. It's not the be all and end all. It shouldn't be holding the dog there. should be relaxed. The dog should want to be with you. The lead is a tool in case things go wrong. Obviously with the very young puppy, things that can go wrong, noises can go off, the puppy can flee. So we need to make sure we're set up to win. And that's with all exercises, whether they're training exercises or helping a behavioural case. Always put yourself in a position to win. We start the recall with the young dog just by using a lure. I'll often use food or attention. In this situation I'm going to use food. I'll use my whistle, remember only blowing it as the dog moves towards me. Penny, good girl. Penny, good girl. We must make sure with food there's 3 rules. Not all food belongs to the dog. We must make sure the dog works for food. That's our training. We also must make sure that the dog is calm when it receives the food, especially if there's children around. This is all good for the gun dog handler to know as well, because manners mean everything. So we're going to go again with Penny. Penny. Lure in the right hand, collar first, then the lure is given. Nice and calm. It will always be calm if we controlled the lure in the first place. So we're just going to see here if Yogi does understand what the whistle means. A good way to test this is by just using the sound alone. Obviously, if you've just bought a whistle or you've never used one, the dog won't understand it. Dogs are not born understanding what come, heel, sit, down, etc. means. It's our job to teach, remember. So I've got some food here, high value lure, tidbit. I'm going to use that just to get Yogi's interest. You can see he's interested. Yogi, sit, twist, sit, good boy. So he's prepared to do the actions for the lure. Let's now see if he understands the action of come with the whistle. Just one simple sit, stay, leaving the dog, facing the other way and blowing the whistle. Sit, stay. Good lad. Sit. So we can clearly see there Yogi, without any facial expressions, hand movements, understands what the recall whistle means. This is hugely important with the gun dog when we're in when we're in a wood, on the other side of a hedgerow, the dog's in long cover crop. It must listen to our sounds, not just come to actions. A lot of people you'll see in the park with the young dog, they will use their hands to encourage, and of course we want to fade those hand signals away and get it onto the whistle. And that's the end product.